Good evening, YouTubers. Today I want to talk to you about Metal Gear Rising Revengeance Raiden Hot Toys 1/6 figure and the arm problem that most of people, or should I say all people, have been having. This video goes out to Test Jess 1, who was one of the first people to have this figure, or that I saw a video of, with Carlos obviously experienced this problem, although he's had his arm replaced. Let's get down to what I want to talk about and show you the arm and how to fix it. Right, so first off, what I did was, mine straight out of the box, my right arm was broken. What I've done is, straight out, I've just pulled the arms off, removed the armour from his chest, which you just pull off, just for ease of access to the arm joints. Watch the straps when you're pulling off the arms, because you may catch them. Just pull them out, it's just a normal ball joint there. Pull them off, and you're left with the arm. Pull off your hand, and you're left with the actual arm like this, with the armour attached. Now, the only thing that's holding the actual outer skin of the arm to the inner arm that's broke are some pegs that are inside these actual joints here. So there's a peg right at the top, just under here. There's a peg here, a peg here, and a peg here, roughly. The rest of it is just a slight piece of glue underneath here, some glue here, and the other side. There's no glue at all on this top one, apart from underneath here is a peg that goes inside the actual, through the skin and into the inner arm, which you can see here. I've left it out so you can see what I'm talking about. See these holes here are where the actual pegs inside, there's the pegs as you can see them, those insert into these holes. There's just like a touch of glue on each peg, and the rest of the glue, as you can see that there, just a trickle of glue on each side of the actual armour piece. So when you've got your arm off, pop the ball joint, pull the arm off, you're left with this, with the inner arm inside the actual skin. Now what I did was, the bottom two I warmed up very slightly with a hairdryer. Those popped off really easy, and there you go. There's just like a minimal glue on each side. The same for this one. I peeled it very, very easily. Peel that off. Again, glue on each side. There was a little touch of glue on the top of that tab. The one that was the pain in the arse is the top, and what I used for that is small pincers, which have actually got a lock on them, but I didn't use that. But you can actually get these underneath there and grab hold of that peg inside. And what I did was I heated this up with a hairdryer, but you cannot get it too hot because it just flexes and it goes all out of shape, and you risk making a hole in it. So what you need to do is just warm it up very slightly, move it left and right. Keep doing it until the glue pops out and off it comes. But see, there's the glue on the top, minimal, and then they just locate in each of them holes, which obviously the holes go through to that hard inner arm. After you've got those out, you don't need to take the elbow armour off, nor the top armour there. They just stay on, because they're just for show. Pull out the arm itself. There's a slight piece of glue all the way around the edge of that, where the skin meets the actual plastic arm. Just pull that back. It's only a very, very slight amount. You can just see it on the edge there. And then pull that arm out of the skin. You don't need that skin again. Now, here's what I found with mine. As I say, it was the right hand one that was damaged on mine, and the problem lies here. It doesn't matter whether you've been sent a new set of arms from Sideshow, or whether you've got your old arms that are fixed or everything, these will break. There's no doubt about it, and I'll show you for why. This inner peg here, and also this piece of plastic, a different quality of plastic to the rest of the arm. The rest of the arm is very brittle plastic. These inner arms are meant to take some stress. What happens here is, take out these two screws here, and this arm comes apart. Don't need the back. And here's where the problem lies. What Hot Toys have decided to do, now there's an inner cog here, the peg, so the other side of this peg is a little tiny cog with lots of little teeth on, and the outer cog here also has teeth on it, but there's no flex here on this cog. So what somebody on the Sideshow Freaks board has suggested, and very, very good of them to do so, was make small incisions, as you can see I've done there, one here, and one at the bottom. Now they said just make 2 incisions, one at the top and bottom, to let that ring, this outer ring, flex. Because when this ring doesn't flex, what actually flexes is the brittle plastic here, which then causes the joint to snap. So this outer arm here snaps across here. There was where my snap was. So I'll take it apart so you can see. So there's the actual inner arm with the peg in, and there's where my crack was across there. But it snapped on this brittle plastic, whereas this is a harder type of plastic here. And as you can see, there's lots of little teeth on the edge there. So what I did was I pulled out this peg, glued the joint, pushed this peg back in, glued this peg in, obviously, and then what I did was scuffed it up with some wet and dry sandpaper, and then I applied some super glue over the top, let it fuse all together overnight, and then sanded it down once again, and I've applied some Araldite epoxy glue over the top there, so it just seals it all in and then makes it harder again. And the same here, and then just sanded it down. But what you can't do is don't get any glue on these little tiny teeth here. Make sure you put some masking tape around here, otherwise if you get any glue on here, the outer actual cog, if you like, these teeth won't line up with the other teeth, obviously, because there's glue all over them. So make sure you keep the glue off that other teeth. And what people have said is just make a slice here and here, or maybe top and bottom, or left and right. But I've done it with 3. 1, 2, 3. So there's little tiny cuts there. Now those cuts allow this ring to flex, because there is no flex. So it doesn't matter whether Sideshow sent you new arms or whether you've got one that works, it will snap. There's no doubts about this. So to allow this to flex, I made 3 incisions on mine. That's all you need to do. Tiny little cut there, tiny little cut there, tiny little cut there. I'll then position this back together, and I'll show you. There's my joint working. I'll show you a close-up of that. See now the teeth, I've still got some resistance, don't get me wrong, but not to the point where it's going to snap this brittle plastic, because this is just cheap rubbish shit compared to that inner plastic, which is a tougher. Then obviously when your arms back together. Now the only reason I attempted this was because I saw the photos on the Sideshow Freaks board. I just did a search online for Raiden arm repair. I was hoping there'd be a video by now of it, so I just decided to strip mine down as soon as I got it out the box, because mine was broken out the box, which is ridiculous for the sort of money. I had this from a British dealer, Collectibles Direct. Dealt with him many times, great bloke. I will say he checked it for me before he dispatched it, and he said yes, one of the arms is floppy. He hadn't even moved it, so it was damaged out of the box, not even left the actual guy who bought it off. So what he did was he then knocked £65 off, or £70 off, I can't remember what it was, off the total price, because it was just rubbish basically. And I said, I'll have a go at fixing it if I can do it. Fair enough. If I can't, then you know, it's just going to be a statue. But I was determined after seeing the photos, quite detailed photos, I say, on the Sideshow Freaks page of that arm. But there you go. So that now can be put back in to the skin and actually put back in through there. Obviously, run a bit of glue around that edge to seal the skin up to this, and then all you got to do is just glue those pegs back on, which actually go through those holes of the skin and back into the arm there. So that goes into there, the middle one obviously goes into there, and then your bottom one, whichever it was. I've got the arm on back to front, there you go. Just glue that back into there, and away you go. Pop your but that's the joint, and that's how to fix it basically. But you will not be able to move this figure, and if you can hear it clicking, it will go very, very soon. My other arm, let's just have a look at that one. This one hadn't snapped and was working perfectly well, but it was really, really stiff, and the joint was a really snapping motion as it clicked. So I stripped it down from the beginning, and there was a white mark across the back of there where it was about to break. So I did exactly the same with that one. Took it apart. As you can see, I made the incisions on there. 3 incisions again. So it just allows that to flex inside the arm, but still allowing it to move. And that's that. Again, all I did was run some super glue over that, let it dry overnight, let it fuse together, sand it down very slightly, and obviously put my 2-part epoxy glue over there, let that dry. That's now hard as nails. Hopefully, with any luck, that shouldn't break again. And that's that basically. If you've got any questions about it, or how to get the parts off, feel free to message me and ask about it. Another thing I will say, when you are removing that top one, again, I'll just say it again because it is quite tough. When this top armour, now some have said they've just used a blade under there and they've tried to work it up to pop that one. That's all that's holding this, is one peg. I found it easier when that's on top of the skin to get your blade, grab hold of that peg left and right, and just pop it out. Now I will say the one of mine came out with there was no glue on it at all, it just popped straight off. But the other one, I might add, did snap. The peg snapped halfway down. As you can see there, I've got to glue half of the peg back on, but it's ready to go again. Obviously you only need a little tiny bit of glue when you pop it back in the arm just to hold it on again. I won't put a lot of glue back on them, because if you ever want to strip it down again just to see inside, but I'm fairly confident now those are fixed, rather than Sideshow just sending out more, which apparently there are no more. They've all been sent out, so how much of a fuck up this was from the very beginning is beyond me, because why they should charge, you know, £205 plus for a figure that's broken is beyond me. But there you go. So anyway, with that fixed, and the standard version of Raiden will be repaired tonight. I've also grabbed this off eBay from a guy called David. He was aware that there was a problem his one's working at the minute, but how long for he didn't know. So we worked out a deal, and I said, can I buy the Inferno version off you, which is exclusive with just the extra sword, and we sorted out a deal. The reason being, he did list it with the figure having a problem. His one hadn't snapped, but obviously if you don't know how to strip it or how to go about it, it is a bit off-putting. Because to be fair, if I hadn't seen any photos or just what it was like inside the arm, I don't think I'd have attempted it without knowing in my head that I could fix it from the beginning. But there you go. There's all the parts. If you knew what you were doing, I mean, I could do this now in an hour. I could have it stripped down, glued, as long as the glue was dry. Obviously, I'll let the glue dry overnight. So, but just to the stripping and fitting, you can do it in like half an hour, 45 minutes, easy. But just be careful with those pegs, popping them out of there. Because as I say, on mine, there was no glue at all on the actual pegs on the arm and the shoulder. It was more just a glue on the actual inner edge there, as you can see. There's the glue. But obviously when you glue that back on, it does cover up the glue that's been pulled off. So don't worry about that. Thanks for watching, and catch you again. Cheers.